What's up, boys? Petko here. Well, I'm coming with a very sad news. Just 9 minutes ago, there were some class changes before the Heroic Week, which is usually very rare. We expected some class tuning right on a Heroic Week between the 10th and the 17th of September, but they decided to do a urgent pre-Heroic rating nerf and buff to some of the specs. So today, or I guess right now, we're gonna jump in, check it out, and you're gonna find out why I'm sad. Okay, let's keep on rolling. Alright, first thing first, we regularly make combat design adjustments based on a gameplay data and feedback. What kind of data do you get that? From where? There's no Mythic Plus in rating for the past, it's been already close to 2 weeks. Compares to class performances with scheduled weekly maintenance in each region, aka September the 3rd, we're gonna implement this shit. Alright, let's go. Frost Death Knight received a nerf. Frost Decay, Frost Strike damage by 6% nerf, Obliterate, Icy Death Torrent, and Glacial Advance by 10% respectively. Now, purely for Mythic Plus performance, Frost Decays were one of the best melees out there. This nerf will put them closer to the rest of the melee specs, but I still believe they are going to be one of the best, if not, let's say, top 2, I would say. Probably right now, Sarok Pool is ahead of them. It was to be expected, to be honest with you. Frost Decay were performing really, really good. Are they going to be dead after this change? Most definitely not. That is not as big of a nerf as you guys think it is. I'm going to be checking out later some sims and tell you how much percentage-wise did they get nerfed, but first look here, not as huge as people think it's going to be. Rate-wise, they were not like OP. They were like quite good, but not OP. Mythic Plus-wise, they were one of the best. So I think they're still gonna remain pretty good choice. So don't get panicky about it. Frost Decay is still going to feel amazing. I'm gonna do some sims later and tell you exactly how much percentage did they get nerfed from single target in AoE. Next in line, this is something that I spoke about many weeks in advance. Balanced Druid. What did I tell you guys? They will buff Balanced Druid. I told you. They always do that. When balance performs poorly, they always buff them. Umbro Intensity increases the damage of Rat by 20 to 40%. It was 25-50. And Starfire by 15-30. It was 50. So they nerfed Umbro Intensity. But look at what's happening after that. Star Surge by 12% buff. Starfall by 20% buff. Harmony of the Heavens increases the Eclipse power by 2% per proc. Maximum 6, it was 1%, maximum 5. So, because they nerfed Umbro Intensity, okay, I'm not sure if this is gonna be netting a buff. I gotta check out in a bit, tell you exactly. This could also be a net neutral change. Again, I am not sure because they nerfed that, but also buff Star Search and Starfall. Star Search is the single target spender, Starfall is AoE spender. And also Harmony of the Heavens, which is, not as big of a change, got the small buff. So I'm gonna check out later. This is gonna be a buff, nerf, or net neutral. My initial instincts are telling me this is gonna be a small buff, but we'll see. On behalf of the single target is one of the lowest so far for foam rating and Mythic Plus, so we expected to get some adjustments on behalf of this. I'm surprised to see the Starfall damage increase though. Keep on rolling though. Pharaoh, Blood Talon on Lion's Strength now also increases the damage of a Rampart Ferocity. Okay, bug fixes here. That's gonna probably do slightly better for Pharaoh right now, so not a big change. Evoker, Devastation Evoker, damage of all spells and abilities increased by 6%. Firestorm by 20%. Firestorm duration is reduced till 10 seconds, it was 12. And Engulfing damage increased by 30%. So, Devastation Evoker was already one of the lower performing specs both in Mythic Plus and rating. After this change, they're now going to be closer to the mid spot because first of all damage by 6%, then Firestorm by 20%, and then Engulf by 30%. Flame Shaper Devastation was actually not bad at all. A lot of people are playing Scale Commander, but I told you guys don't sleep on Flame Shaper. And after the buff to the Flame Shaper right now, especially the Firestorm damage increase, and then Engulf more damage, and 6% out of damage, I don't think they're going to be in a bad shape. I think if anything, they're going to be right now middle of the pack-ish, maybe a bit higher than that. Most definitely good buff here. Both AoE and single target. I would say more of like AoE buff. But yeah, pretty happy for Dev Evokers. I want to see them played more often than what they were played for the past couple of seasons. So big thumbs up. That's a very good change from Blizzard. Next in line, oh boy, Pack Leader Hunter. Keep in mind, Pack Leader is something that always BM played, like Survival and MM. First of all, MM does not have Pack Leader. Survival does, but they don't play that shit. They play instead Sentinel. So Vicious Hunt damage increased by 10% for BM and 10% for Survival. Okay. When Vicious Hunt damage reaches a certain point, it can cause Q command to dominate Survival rotation. These adjustments and subsequent compensation are meant to ensure Pack Leader Survival Hunters are utilizing the other tools at their disposal. Wait, sorry. They're nerfing Vicious Hunt from Survival and they're buffing it from Beast Mastery. Keep in mind, Survival doesn't really play Pack Leader, so that's, you know, further incentive for them not to play it. That's a buff to BM though. How the Pack Critical Strike damage bonus bar increased to 5%. It was 3 before. How the Pack Critical Strike damage bonus increased to 11. It was 7 before. Furious Assault damage bonus increased to 60. Was 30. And then cool, the hurt damage over time increased to 60 with 30. So that's pretty much double the damage from the Furious Assault in the Code of the Word. And a Howling Pack and how the Pack also got quite a big chunk of damage increase. Overall, this is gonna likely get more AoE and ST damage, especially for like BM Hunter. Keep in mind, BM Hunters was actually, they were not a bad choice for like raiding. And for Mythic Plus, they were a little bit on a weaker side, but after these adjustments, I wouldn't necessarily count them out as, you know, the lowest performing spec right now. Maybe they're gonna get some, you know, some specs, like some placements up on the tier list or in general in the rankings. Overall, I'm a bit surprised to see they're trying to push this also to Survival, but we'll see. Overall, that's gonna be a buff to BM Hunter and a buff to Pack Leader on Survival. I don't know if they're gonna play a Pack of the Leader on Survival, that is. We'll see, probably not. Next in line is something that, once again, we spoke about that one many weeks in advance, and I already told you. They never leave Fire Mage bad. Fire Mage received the buff. Living Bomb by 30%. Pyroblast 5%. Flame Strike 10%. First of all, this Flame Strike 10% is completely useless. Like, nobody likes to play Flame Strike build. Absolutely no mage that I've known or have known like to play Flame Strike over the Pyroblast or like single target ignite builds. Nobody. I really hate for them to like keep on persisting people on trying to play Flame Strike, which is pretty much like full AoE, no prio, very bad. I don't like that build at all. Zero. Pyroblast, 5% buff. It's gonna be likely your single target adjustments is gonna be a little bit better. Not a massive change here. Living Bomb is the only thing that is actually relevant in terms of buffing. Fire Mage still gonna be likely the lowest performing mage spec, and it's not gonna be played as much, in my opinion, compared to other specs. So yeah, they need a lot more than just that to get, you know, more relevancy. Useless buff, Flame Strike, Pyroblast is too small of a buff. Living Bomb is a decent actually buff. So yeah, I would like to see more adjustments. Frostfire, Frostbolt damage increased by 25 on 4 fire. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. Buffing Frostfire is not a bad thing. Sun Fury, burden on the power can no longer be double dipped by spell queuing. Ooh, that stings. Ooh, if you're Arcane Mage, that stings, dude. Ooh, that is so bad. Arcane Phoenix damage dealt reduced by 10 for Arcane. Arcane Soul base duration reduced to 2 seconds from 3. Ooh, Arcane Mages, boys. I don't know how much of a nerf that is for Arcane. I would love to see the sims after they update it. But first glance, not looking promising here. Arcane were the best performing spec for raiding. And I was sure they're gonna adjust their single target a bit. I wanna see how they're gonna perform after this. Are they gonna get to the Frost Mage performance? I'm not sure. But so far, that is a nerf to Arcane. Unless I'm reading it wrong, but I'm not. Alright, next in line, the Retribution Paladin. Mastery. High Lord Judgment reduced by 10%. For example, at level 80, 180 mastery rating now grants 1.35 mastery was 1.5. So they're nerfing mastery, but they buffed the all holy spell damage by 5%. I mean, they were playing haste mastery as far as I know retribution paladins, right? Haste mastery. Now, for them to get a nerf on a mastery, but then a buff to overall like damage, but only holy damage, right? I mean, most 3 damage is holy anyway. I think that's gonna be maybe short-term buff, long-term nerf, because the later stage you get into the game, the more mastery you're gonna have, the less value you're gonna get from the mastery, and this could be a net neutral change or even a nerf. Like late game. Early game, when you don't have that high secondary stat, this could be actually a buff for Retribution Paladin. Retribution Paladin actually doesn't need any buffs in terms of AoE. They just need single target adjustments. They're already tanky, they have good utility, they're very mobile, have an immunity, good AoE profile damage, short offensive cooldowns. They don't have good single target when they play Mythic Plus build. Raid wise as well. Raid wise, they don't have great single target either. They're one of the most beginner friendly classes, but again, if they were to have a little bit better single target, they would be fantastic. By the way, that's one of my main ults this season. Anyway, before I get to the sad part, let's keep on scrolling. Disc Priest received some kind of a monstrous buffs, by the way. Oracle Discipline Priest, nobody plays Oracle anyway. But yeah. Oracle Discipline Priest prevention measures now increases the power word shield absorption by 40% was 25. Nobody plays Oracle this Priest. Probably not gonna be played at all in like raiding and Mythic Plus, but we'll see. Maybe this is gonna change it. And this is huge now. Atonement got buffed from 70% to 100%. This is like 42% buff on Atonement. This is insanely big. Like, if 70% was before, and that was, let's say, 100 out of 100, now it's gonna be 100% buff, like, from Atonement, which is pretty much, right, 4 multiplied by 0.7. Yeah, that's gonna be, like, more than 40% buff. Like, I think, like, 42.8% buff on Atonement? What the fuck? Yo, that's insane. Maybe I'm by the way, completely, it is possible that I am napkin, my napkin math is wrong. It is possible, but from initial thoughts, this is like 42.5% buff on Atonement, which is insane. Interesting. Fixed initial Atonement, critical healing was not increased by the correct amount of outsider rate, okay? And Shadow Ward Pain and Purge of the Wicked damage increased by... Wow! Okay, so they also buffed their Pain and Purge by 20%. So not only they're gonna get more healing, but also more damage. That's crazy. This is huge for Disc Priest. Disc Priest might now climb to the ladder to like probably top 3, top 4 DPS. That's top 3, top 4 healer. That's insane amount of big buffs, by the way, for Disc Priest. Crazy. Shadow Priest, Void Weaver, Shadow Priest, Void Blast damage should increase by 20. Ooh. Is Void Weaver back on the menu for like Shadow Priest instead of Arcane? Interesting. I want to see what's up with that one. I gotta test it out later. And now, chat, to the main menu. Shaman. Prepare to cry. Ele Shaman. No. Mastery Elemental Overload bonus to all elemental and physical damage increased by 35%. In all honesty, they buffed our mastery by 35%. So technically, all of the nerfs that got here, they might not be that bad if we prior mastery. Keep in mind. All damage reduced by 6%. This is gonna stink. This is now gonna put us in line with Afterlock for Mythic Plus. So pretty much most definitely dropping a tier. Most definitely. And we're getting back to just being above average performance. You know, like, let's say if you were doing in terms of like 9 out of 10 good Mythic Plus, now we're gonna be probably around like 7.5, 7.6 out of 10, which is still very good. Still like top 3, top 4 casters, you know. We'll see though. I gotta test it out and see what's up. Tempest now got the buff. It deals 65% of its damage to nearby enemies. It was before 50, but now it's target capped to 5 targets only. Which is, again, this is gonna be a healthy buff if you're fighting below 5-6 targets, but above that it's gonna be slightly a nerf, which is whatever. Tempest damage is not a lot of your overall anyway, so that's whatever. I guess this is gonna come as net neutral most of the time, especially because half of the time you're playing 5-6 mobs, half the time you're playing more than that, so not a big deal. Look for the this is the biggest deal, but this could be offset by the buff to the mastery. We gotta test that later on. Maybe mastery right now is the play. Enhancer, 4% damage nerfs as well, by the way. Ele Blast, however, got buffed by 12%, so that they want to buff the single. They want to maintain and slightly buff the single target, while nerfing the overall, I guess, AoE too, right? So again, same thing to Tempest. To them, they're gonna do more damage with Tempest between 1 and 5 targets, and less, you know, beyond that. This is actually a much worse change for Enhance, because Enhance was already capped DPS, and Tempest was something that they relied a lot on doing massive AoE damage. Now that it is capped, Enhance is back to being fully capped, which is, okay, not fully capped, but like most of your spells are gonna be capped right now. Tempest was something that, you know, was pushing your damage much higher because it was doing an insane amount of damage. So this is really bad for Enhance, on top of the already 4% nerf. Single target is slightly gonna be slightly better for Enhance, which is a good thing. So this might be a good thing for rating. It might climb like a few spots up. Totemic also got Tremor increased by 10%, and Searing Volley damage increased by 80%. They're gonna make now Enhancer try to play Totemic, because they're nerfing Stormbringer. And are they gonna play now Totemic with the Restoration Shaman? I have no idea. On Sunday, when I update the tier list, I'm gonna be more generous when I speak about that kind of shit. And last changes here is gonna be Warlock. Warlock received 5% damage buffs across the board. This is, by the way, something that's not gonna help them to become much better, because their issue is not about damage, it's just the ramp up damage itself, you know. Obviously 5% is gonna close some gaps, especially on like single target, by the way, where they were lacking a little bit. So climbing a few tiers for the raid tier list, climbing a few tiers for M+ tier list, but nothing impressive here. Alright chat, that's everything pretty much. I hope you guys had fun. I'm sorry to be the bearer of the bad news. I'll see you guys tomorrow in game, talk about more, and on Sunday I'll do my best to update the tier list for Mythic Plus, for rating. Pretty much anything that I can do, I'll do it. Peace out, have a good one, I'll see you tomorrow on stream.